What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast. Back in December, we got the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards with Astrobot swooping in and taking the win. And what better way could there be for us to continue the podcast in 2025 than look back on all 10 winners of the Game Awards and decide, were they truly worthy? Hello, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today I'm joined by Craig, the Critical Nolan, and the host with the most of the D3 Switch Sports Golf Invitational, KP. Gentlemen, how are we?
Who goes first? I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I hope you're okay with what I've settled as your intro.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with that.
It's pretty good because it leads to the winner of the D3 invitation, Mr. Craig Nolan.
For now.
We definitely need to do another one of those before you hit the. I was going to say the States, but you're not going that far. Before you hit the UK. Yeah.
I will defend my title with my life, though, so be warned. You know.
I know. I need to start practicing a bit more as well. I think I've kind of dropped off a touch in my golfing.
Myself and Luke played on. Now Luke has gotten really, really good, but when it was timed and when it was against other people online, I mopped the absolute floor with him. Problem.
When he was under the pressure,
when he's under pressure and you only have a few seconds to take a shot, you don't get many practices in.
That
sets the boys from the main, lads. Just so you know.
Oh, I love it. So I guess apart from golf, are we playing any games at the minute, fellas?
I'm on a real Marvels buzz at the moment. I'm playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, which I'm loving. It's great crack.
Who's your main? Are you still Punisher, or have you moved on from Punisher?
No, I've moved on a bit, but it kind of depends. If I'm playing a competitive game, what I'll usually do is I'll pick my character last because I don't mind switching roles. Everyone usually picks Duelist or something like that. So
you're a team player.
Yeah, because so everyone will want to chase kills for the most part, and I don't mind playing the strategist role or the vanguard role. So
the strategist has been. I did that. I thought it was a lot of fun for a while. Mantis was one of my picks for a while, and I was like, this is actually because you're out of the stress a little bit of like the heavy, especially in the rounds where you have to protect the cart going through the levels. Mm-hmm. I find those ones to be crazy frantic. But when you're the strategist, you kind of just hold back, heal a couple of people, and I've snuck in a few kills. It's quite an enjoyable role.
Yeah, I go for Jeff the Shark for that exact same reason. Because
Mantis and Jeff the Shark. Yeah. Who the fuck are these people?
To be fair, the strategist, the only kind of recognizable one maybe from that universe is really Rocket Raccoon for the most part. The other ones
most of the strategists are very unknown type characters.
Is Rocket Raccoon a strategist, is he?
Yeah.
He's a healer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Mantis is also Guardians of the Galaxy.
But she's a shit. Nobody gives a fuck about Mantis.
She's actually surprisingly strong in it.
But like it's because of her representation in the movie that I hate her. You know?
No, that's fair.
I'm not going to cheer for Mantis. You know,
that's reasonable. And you said Marvel Buzz. Any other Marvel games?
Yeah, I picked up the Spider-Man 2 game on the January sale recently.
Nice.
So I'm about like 10% through it.
Would you say it's a big improvement on the first one?
Yeah, I'd say
still the same.
No, it's definitely they've added a lot of mechanics to it. And you can play as both Spider-Man. You can play as
is it like
Miles
GTA
Morales
5 that you can switch between them on the go?
Yeah, and they have their own kind of specific stories within the game, and so the game will like steer you into picking one or the other depending on what's going on. But when you have your I suppose free time within the game, you can kind of pick who you're leaning towards, and they both have different skill sets, which is quite fun.
That is pretty good. Mm-hmm. I like that. It's just the story in Spider-Man 1 was god awful.
I didn't think it was at all. Every time you say that, I thought you would have liked it.
But you played the Batman game, so you know what a good video game story is. Yeah, so compare it to that, and then you're like, oh shit, that's terrible.
I suppose it's not as dark, but I like it.
I know, but it's overly campy and nice. I feel like it's Peter Parker of 2024 big time. You know, he's like, how you doing? Nice to see you, golly. You know, that type of bullshit.
Well, do you know what else they did as well? After the game got an update and they made the Peter Parker character look more like Tom Holland, which I thought when that happened, I was like, oh, that's a bit crap.
I thought that was quite a shitty thing to do to whoever mocapped the stuff originally. But and I know they made him look more like Tom Holland, but to me, when they redid it, he's a more vanilla character compared to the original one, you know. And he was
always a rubbish character. They needed the guy who did this Peter Parker from the '90s anime. Just get him back, you know, because he was wisecracking, but you could tell he was a tough guy.
Yeah.
This is no dorky Peter Parker. This is the guy who, like, when he got his Spider-Man powers, people went, "Oh shit, he's buff." You know, and they realized, you know, that's the guy you want. Like, you can't have a Peter Parker going, "Oh, my glasses, I can't see." You know, you don't want that shit. You want him to, like, it's a few years later. You want him to have grown into the role and act like a tough guy.
In terms of live action Spider-Mans, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, or Tom Holland, who's your pick, Craig?
Tom Holland, instant. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I know because he was the youngest and therefore the most
Accurate.
Yeah. But I think he's even aged better than the others had.
Yeah.
Like Tobey Maguire just never suited the role.
It was not
Andrew
choice.
Garfield is just a skater. Like there's no way he's Peter Parker. Or
Someone made a good point. They said, was it Tobey Maguire was the best Spider-Man. Tom Maguire was the best Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland has a good balance of the two.
For me, Tom Holland is just the better at it.
I think with the three of them, the Tom Holland movies are the best.
Oh yeah.
Tobey Maguire is the best portrayal as maybe Spider-Man or Peter Parker, and Andrew Garfield is the best actor of the three, is how I look at it.
And I think Andrew Garfield had a lot to had less to work with.
Movies,
they're the worst movies of them all, which is so disappointing. But I did really enjoy seeing them coming back in that what is it? No Way Home? Homecoming.
Yeah.
All the home names really confuse me. On the Marvel buzz, I would say 3/4 of the way through. There are about Marvel Midnight Suns.
Oh yeah,
and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Yeah, it's been really, really good. And as I said to you before, Craig, like you were looking for something to pick up, and I said this game is really good graphically. It's not a whole lot on the eyes. Like it's definitely like a older. I mean, I think it came out in 2022, but even then, it feels like it was made for all platforms. So it doesn't have it. I don't look at it and say, God, this looks amazing, but it's funny. It's engaging. I do quite like the strategy style of the stuff, and the storyline's actually pretty good. And the main character is voiced by Matt Mercer, and I've gone for, you can choose like the light path or the dark path, and I've gone for a bit of a dark path, so I'm a bit of a dick to people. With everybody except Captain America, me and him are best friends. I was like, he's the only person I give like my life points to, because he wouldn't appreciate me being a dickhead, of course. So I'm like, I'll be nice to Captain America because I like him. What about you, Craig? What are you playing?
I'm still playing. Just on and on. Like I can only ever play for about a half an hour before I just get really bored and turn it off. Like, and that's
doesn't sound good.
Jedi Survivor, the sequel.
Such a shame you're not like. I really
didn't
enjoyed it.
Well, I didn't like the first one, but I got through it.
Yeah,
like, I cleared it, and then I was like, man, that was bad. But in this one, I'm like, it's just the exact same game with just way more wall running.
Do you think so?
Yeah, and but it's so broken. Like, the way, like, anytime you get an enemy down to like 10% health, it'll often trigger this kind of like death cutscene.
Yeah.
Well, that fails every single time, where my character is like 6 feet away from where he should be, and the enemy still dies, whereas Cal hasn't made any sort of contact whatsoever. Like the animation just fails.
I thought all those kind of like bugs were patched. I thought
the game's been out for 2 years.
Yeah, I played.
If I stand in a corridor, stuff is rendering in and then rendering back out just all around me.
That's the Force. No.
But as well, like, you get into an area where you're like 30 feet up in the air and you jump, the game just kills you. I'm like, I'm a fucking Jedi. Like, can I not just use push before I hit the ground? No, the game it's so on rails. Like, the whole openness is just a pure illusion.
I do think as it progresses, a mechanic gets added that might fix that.
Yes. But I mean, at the moment, I'm jumping and then doing a double jump. And I'm like, what Jedi would ever do a double jump? None. It doesn't make any sense for this universe to have that. Yeah. This is just a Metroidvania, but they've just put a Star Wars attached to it. And the story is just bland as shit. It's just like, go to each one of these temples and collect blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just...
I enjoyed it.
I think
it should not be set in the Skywalker universe. So it should have been set 1,000 years in the past with Darth Revan or some other fucking deadly Sith fighting Jedi, and then have an epic tale. But they're so streamlined into what they can and can't do that they can't do fuck all. You can't choke someone, you can't hit them at lightning. There's no good. I'm sick and tired of pushing and pulling things, like I've done that in a dozen games.
I think what disappointed me was I had started playing the first one. It was free, I think, on whatever PlayStation plan I had, and then the second one came out and I was like, maybe I should get into these. Maybe I should start playing the first one. And then I saw cutscenes. I think you fight Darth Vader in the second one, right?
In the first one.
Yeah, at the very end of the first one.
Yeah. And the moment I saw that, I was like, I'm out. There's just no reason. Like, because the movies for me,
you know exactly what's going to happen. Like, you'll fight him, but you'll get away, and he'll kind of chase you, but not really chase you.
I didn't actually like that fact that as well. That like he's only like Cal Kestis at that point, like a teen who never fully finished any sort of like training, and he managed to hold his own against
Darth Vader, who we see at the end of Rogue One, who's an absolute beast. Do you know what I mean? And
but they're changed. Like, then Obi-Wan beats him in the very next series.
Could be an ego thing.
Oh, in the.
you know, the Obi-Wan show, like Darth Vader is nothing, like, because Obi-Wan can take him no problem in that time, you know, like they're changing his power to suit whatever.
They're nerfing Vader to Jesus,
get away from that time period altogether, because I don't care about it. It sucks because Palpatine, despite being a pretty poor villain, has to be the big bad boss in all of those things.
I laughed out loud in the cinema when that was announced in the last of the Rey series when he was the villain. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Like the way they bring him back, he's returned.
All he can do is shoot lightning and go ultimate power. That's his only move. And like he's the most powerful thing in the galaxy.
It was such a it's weird. It's you know, you come across like indie games and stuff like that with all these brilliant storylines and everything. And you know there's good story writers out there, but why are these vanilla stories always attached to some of the biggest IPs in the world? Like Star Wars has I remember Colm and me used to stay up late so many nights. We were hanging out like back in college, and we just watched loads of Star Wars lore videos, and there is so much to pull from. And they're just like, oh, let's stick it in the universe, let's ruin Luke Skywalker, let's bring back Palpatine for no reason at all, and then anytime we make a video game, we'll stuff it in there somehow. And I'm like, you have so much of the world to pull from. What are you doing? So when I saw that it was in the Skywalker world, I was like, I'm out for that reason.
Just last night, I was going down the corridor and there was just these bunch of terrible puzzles that I'd done before a dozen times already, just picking up a ball and bringing it somewhere. I'm like, finally, I've done that. And then I got like, as my reward, there was a box and inside was a mustache for my character. And I just went, fuck this. Like, what? How is a mustache in the box? You know? But like,
I can't argue that at all.
Like, and in the first game, you just unlock ponchos, and that was boring as fuck.
But to be
fair, in this, it's just like little hair pieces.
At least the studio and like the developers did listen to that feedback. That was one thing I took from it. Like the poncho thing was like a meme where it was like all you can do was get like something like 10 different ponchos.
But it hasn't changed. The rewards are still just as shit.
You can change them a lot though.
But I don't want that as my reward. Just have that in the game from the start. Don't make my unlocks like, because he's already a boring looking. Like, he's a good voice actor and stuff, but like he looks nerdy as fuck. Like, he doesn't look like the hero Kyle Katarn.
Oh, my guy's got when I had he had like a mohawk, everything. I made him look.
He's still a ginger, you know. He can never be cool.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Just before we kind of get into the episode, we were this episode's coming out next week to the week that we're recording this. So I'm going to say last week, which isn't technically true in the present when I'm talking right now, but last week, if you're listening to this, so for next Thursday when you're listening to this happened last week. We were at a video game quiz done by QHI or Quiz Host Ireland, I think is the name of it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, really good.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, really good.
We were all there.
Yeah. And it was a pity we came second, and it was gas because when we were deciding, like, I was like, hey, you guys got any names for the team? You're like, oh, I'll call it the podcast. And I was like, that is so much fucking pressure, because if we go there and get stomped and we're telling people we have a video game podcast, we're going to get absolutely ruined.
Unless they were already subscribed, the only thing they could do is unsubscribe, and I doubt any of them were subscribed, so it's a perfect balance of zero.
No harm, no foul. But Colin, who was the host from QHI, was kind enough to give us a shout out and even provided our listeners with a discount code for the next video game quiz they're hosting on May 6th at the Grand Social at 8 p.m. So just check out eventbrite.ie and search for the QHI Video Games Quiz and use the code GIFTOFGAMING for a €9 discount on tickets for the quiz. We might even see you there while we go back to try and take the crown, because unfortunately we only got second place and it was very, very frustrating.
So if you're a listener from another country, what a great excuse to come to Ireland.
There you go.
Get a little discount on a game quiz.
To get €9 off here, because you're coming from the US, €9 off a random quiz in the Grand Social in Dublin, Ireland. Go for it, you know, you see us there. But John, we need to get to the actual topic of today's show, which is we're looking back at the last 10 years of the Game Awards, the nominations and who won, and whether or not we kind of agree with kind of what the sentimentality was at the time, if it deserved it, if it didn't deserve it. We've got 10 years to cover. I don't think we'll do it all in this episode. So right now we're saying we're going to go through 2014 up to 2014, 15, 16, 17, 2014 to 2018. That's half.
Good years.
Thank you. Yep. So I guess to kick us off, we'll start off with 2014. The very first year the Game Awards was hosted by Jeff Keighley. And for anybody who's listening, we're talking about the Jeff Keighley Game Awards. None of the Game Awards that are done by like the Golden Joystick or none of them. We're just going through Jeff Keighley, the big live show that happens in Vegas.
All right, that's a fair way of doing it, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So nominations in 2024, gentlemen. Here they were. We had Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Hearthstone, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, and Dragon Age Inquisition. The winner that year was Dragon Age Inquisition.
Wow. As soon as he said Dark Souls anything, I was like, well, there's your game of the year.
Yeah, I assume so.
People are just going to go Dark Souls regardless of
I don't
anything.
know, and this would probably be my ignorance as a person who never really played the Soul games, and maybe it's only because I've been doing the podcast, it's definitely been in my mind a lot, because the Souls game, the Bloodborns, are such a big cult following. I don't know if they were as huge or in the now as they are today. So
maybe 10 years ago, they weren't quite as big a thing.
Possibly. Chris could be listening to this, could absolutely...
But like Dark Souls 1 probably got game of the year, right?
It doesn't go back to that.
It doesn't go back. Yeah,
we'll never know. The unknown.
Yeah. Dragon Age Inquisition. Do you guys think? I mean, I know you're thinking that Dark Souls 2 should have been there, but any qualms about Dragon Age winning over the others?
Was it that good a game? Like, do people still look back on that fondly? Because
I loved it.
I didn't bother getting that game. I was like, I do not like the look of this. It's not for me.
So it was graphically again. I don't think, and the same with like the Dragon Age that's just. Or that's coming out of Veilguard, whatever, is quite impressive. But Dragon Age Inquisition, I had a ton of fun with. It was kind of like it was out 2014. I played it a lot through kind of like my first or second year of college. It was like when I would not be going to classes or whatever else. I was sitting back and playing Dragon Age. I love the story. Gameplay, I think if it's the game I'm thinking of, it should be. You had a variety of kind of like classes to choose from. All really cool. Like all really different, really enjoyable. I'm putting down here that I looked at the 2014 to see what else came out that year that isn't on this list. And there's 3 I'm putting in there, and they're more personal. I'm sure people would say, well, they're not worthy of a game of the year, and I get that. But what I would have liked to have seen there would have been Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, Mario Kart 8.
Oh, okay.
And from a personal level, because we had so much fun on this podcast, was Alien Isolation. And I would have put any of those 3 in there instead of either Hearthstone or Bayonetta 2. I don't know if those 2 games are really deserving for nominations above those.
I'm
those
very
games.
surprised Mario Kart wasn't in there. Considering
was
the
that the
longevity
original
of it as
release,
well.
the Mario Kart Wii U release?
Yeah,
wow,
Mario Kart 8.
Because that's considered a very, very good game.
Yeah.
And graphically, it was such a boost from like the Wii version.
And like Super Smash Bros. Wii U, I know it's not as good as
but it's still
Ultimate.
Excellent.
Still an excellent game. I wonder, was there a bit of a...
it's always criticized because of its online capabilities. But I mean, that's a Nintendo issue. There's nothing...
That's never really changed.
There's nothing a game developer can do if the Nintendo can't do that. Like, you know? Like, there's nothing... Especially a fighting game that has way more than... Like, it's not one-on-one. It's fucking usually 4v4 or...
Yeah,
eight people or up to 4 with weapons, items, and all sorts of chaos going on. So it's always going to lag, you know. It's never going to have that great on, especially in 2014. Like, you know, whether it's PlayStation or Nintendo, like it should not be criticized for that, because if you take out the online component, then it doesn't get marked down for that, you know. So it's just like, well then, you know, if the game was brilliant by itself, and it is a brilliant game by itself, like it's the best couch co-op game of all time, other than Smash Bros. Ultimate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So like it should be reviewed on that basis, like, you know.
Do you reckon there was a bit of a Nintendo bias?
I feel that must have been the case for those 2 to not get included, considering like where they stand now in like gaming world.
I mean,
like,
Mario Kart 8 is considered like it's still being updated to this. I mean,
as
of
last
year,
I play it every week. Like I'm flat out on it. I love it.
Yeah, and the fact that it wasn't even in the conversation. Craig, did you play Shadow of Mordor, Middle Earth?
I didn't, because it's like that type of game where it's just like, you know, a big open map, you go fight the enemies, and then another enemy replaces that enemy you already killed, and it's very much an Assassin's Creed without the story, you know.
Damn.
Like just... it looked like a fun game, but like one that, because it's set within the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I'm like, well, there's a game that can have no narrative impact whatsoever.
Yeah,
I played it. I don't think I finished it. I remember playing it at the time. I really enjoyed it. I'd be a stan of like, you know, a franchise game. Like, so from that universe, I'm all in to play a Lord of the Rings themed game, unless it's like the Gollum game. But
it's a pity we don't have the Game Awards going back years gone, because I think Lord of the Rings, like the Two Towers, Return of the King, like those two-player ones on the PlayStation 2 would have been unbelievably like well up there.
Like Shadow of Mordor, like it was a surprise hit, because generally those type of games are terrible, but like the mechanic of beating a bad guy or have him running away and then becoming more powerful, I absolutely love that. But it just seems like that is pretty much all the game is, you know? Yeah. Like, run to an area, beat up the bad guys to claim territory. Like, it's kind of like a galactic conquest, like in Star Wars Battlefront, just without the epic space battles and extra online multiplayer. And I'm like, no, I've already played the best of this, so you're gonna have to do something extra to really get me.
And it's a pity
board.
because because they patented that gameplay mechanic that we did like a news episode like ages ago on, because the Nintendo or the Pokemon company were trying to patent the throwing the Pokeball thing for Power World.
Yeah.
And we were looking at other patents, and it was the Shadow Mordor. I think that they patented that idea that once you, whatever way you beat this person, they came back, but they were kind of had an immunity to the first way you might have beaten them, and so on and so forth. And I was like, it's such
crazy
a cool
to have a patent on something like that, because that's just a natural progression of technology.
But like it's such a good patent on such a mediocre game. You know, I was like, oh, and like no one else got to use this who could have been, you know, really used it well. I'm looking at that list, and I would take out Bayonetta and Hearthstone and put in probably Super Smash Brothers Wii U and Mario Kart 8, but I still am fairly okay with Dragon Age Inquisition winning it.
Yeah, and if it was a good game, then fair enough. I'm just happy it beat the Dark Souls, so I thought that was impossible, you know?
Yeah.
But the game of that year was Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. Like, no question.
Yeah. So if that is the case, that there was probably some Nintendo bias that disappears in 2015, because in 2015 the nominations were Bloodborne, Fallout 4, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, and Super Mario Maker.
What a fucking year. Wow.
Right?
Holy shit, that was some good titles.
Yeah. Craig, do you know?
This time I know what the winner is, but the winner with 100% certainty should be The Witcher 3.
Yes, and that is who won.
That is who won. Okay, I just like Bloodborne's definitely.
Did you think it was Bloodborne?
Yeah, I assumed it was Bloodborne.
Fair enough.
Because it seems to be the most talked about game like ever. And that's all people.
Everyone just wants it back.
Days.
Yeah.
But The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest narrative experiences of all time. Like with the best DLC of all time, and like just absolute tons and tons of great content, and visually amazing. Like it was the first game that I went, wow, I really have a PS4 now. Like, you know, like it was the first time it had made that leap, and I noticed, you know. So yeah, The Witcher 3 and then Metal Gear Solid 5 was also amazing.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5's I mean, I'm glad it made it there. I thought it was an incredibly fun game.
Yes, unfinished completely. It's only about half done, you know, and yet still was a lot of fun, you know, but completely unfinished.
KP, do you have any thoughts on the winner there? Is there anything that you would have thought was?
I'm not surprised in the slightest. I think like I loved playing Bloodborne, but I never finished Bloodborne. I don't like those games are, I would say, slightly inaccessible for me. I can never get to the end of them, but I had a great experience going through the same hour of whatever it was. I made it through that game. So I can see why that would be up there for a shout, but it's The Witcher 3.
I think the problem I have with those games is it's the setting. That like really grim medieval vibe that's
just
in a lot of Souls games.
Fucking shitty caves
or
churches,
like gothic castles and things like that. I'm like, and I want a bit more. And I guess for those who like played Elden Ring now, I think it kind of opened that view up a little bit. But it is interesting that we've had two Souls games like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 2 in the 2 years that didn't actually win it. Nice to know. It's made me feel better about the more recent results that we got.
Would you reckon on like a retrospective, everyone could vote again? That would change.
Yeah, because this is what I thought we'd be doing, and I bet you if people could look back over the years, Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne would probably be the games of the year.
There's a good question. That's what we should do, right? Let's go back to 2014 for a second, and we'll stick with the nominations that we have. So Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Hearthstone, Middle-earth, Shadow and Mordor, Dragon Age. Do you think if people were voting on those games now, we get a different answer to Dragon Age?
I think you get Souls. I think you get Dark Souls. It's just based off of current trend.
Yeah. And then like, what do people talk about to this day? Is it Dark Souls versus Dragon Age Inquisition?
Yeah.
I never ever hear people talk about Dragon Age Inquisition.
No. And I think for 2015, then I think, are we saying that? Do you think that looking back now, that Bloodborne has the potential to beat The Witcher 3?
To be honest,
I wouldn't
say so. I think The Witcher 3 is
too
actually
strong.
Just
it's too strong.
Just universally amazing. Like, you know, the fact that they have the TV, like The Witcher is now more popular than ever, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't at the time, but I mean, it had Gwent and stuff. They had so much going on in the game. I think it's actually, that game has become more beloved, if anything. Like, they even re-released it on the Switch and like on every console.
So I got
again and again.
And I only played a couple hours into it because I think I was playing it in the lead up to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out, so that kind of put an absolute stopper into it. But there's a remastered version that you can get on the PlayStation 5, which I have a physical copy of for some reason, whatever. But I was playing that and I was like, God, this is a lot of like the setting and everything that I love it. And it's one I really want to go back to, but just Final Fantasy came out at just the wrong time for me to really sink, because I never finished The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt or even played the DLC. So I think it's a thing that I missed
both
out.
DLCs are great.
Yeah. The only thing I said in 2015 that possibly missed out, and I don't really think it did, it's just a personal thing, and I don't think it trumps any of the 5 games that are there, but I loved Helldivers so much when we were playing it as a group, when that was like one of the first kind of top 10 multiplayers that we were all playing. Had a lot of fun playing Helldivers, but I just don't think, I just kind of put in there more for a laugh.
I can never put a 20-year game up for Game of the Year. I just refuse. I'm like, no.
Oh really? Yeah.
No, you're in a different category for me, you know.
Oh, fair enough.
Because
like
there's 100 people who put a shit ton of work in, and then there's you 5 over there, you know.
But what if you five over there did a better job than the 100 people?
I don't think that's possible. But if you charge €60 and had a €60 big game, then maybe. But I'm never going to pick. Like, Stardew Valley is probably the only exception where you're getting more value for that than a €60 game. Like, you know, it's the one game that I think that, you know, even Hades, I love it, but it's no €60 game, and it can't compete with those. You know, they're always going to be better. That's just my take. I like bigger and better. Like, you know. And with all these indie things, it's like people are starting to realize that the smaller games can actually make more money, and that sets a really bad precedent for me. Like, no.
You think so?
Yeah. I just if someone can make a shitty game with putting a little effort in, why wouldn't everyone do that?
How did you feel about that? Balatro must have driven you mad.
The perfect example is Final Fantasy VII Remake and then Crisis Core Rebirth. You know, one took fucking years to make, put billions into it almost, and one is just a carbon fucking copy of a shit game from 20 years ago, and one made almost as much money as the other. You know,
sorry, do you mean that the remaster they did of Crisis Core that they bought on the PlayStation 5, which they called
Crisis Core Reunion,
that made as much as Rebirth?
It came close. Yeah,
that breaks my heart a little bit if that's.
But like
that's the case.
The effort value is like 100 to 1.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
more. You know, so I hate that. You know, like I would bin that game for.
So I'm with you. I'm with you on that one, but I think that's a different, those kind of like cheap remasters. Like I think that exists with the Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 kind of cheap remaster that we got. I throw that into the same category as this, where I think it's kind of people being like, oh, people like nostalgia, fucking hook it to my veins. Let's like give it a new skin and throw it out. I agree with you on that one, but I think there's some indie games out there that are just incredible. Like, I mean, I enjoyed my time with Balatro. Did I think it was Game of the Year or should have been in the conversation? Probably not now in hindsight that I've had a couple of months. No, we'll get to 2024 in the next episode or whatever. But yeah, I think that game not so much, but things like Celeste, or I think I've mentioned further down here, Cuphead I put into things I thought should have gotten into the conversation, because I think there's such charm and a different take on making a video game gone into some of those than you get.
There is massively. But if like one year someone put a big massive team put like all this crazy great work in, and then a game comes in at the last second like Cuphead and just wins Game of the Year, people are going to quit their jobs, you know. Talented people are just going to leave and go, fuck this, you know. So I don't want that to happen. So can we separate the indies with the AAAs is what I would like to do
so like, create a new category in Game of the Year, like maybe.
Best indie, that already is a category, right? So stick in your lane. But you cannot, like Journey fucked with us, you cannot compete in the main lane if you are a 20-year-old, unless you're Stardew Valley.
Caveat.
Well, otherwise you can't, because the just effort is not there.
Interesting that you say Stardew Valley. I'll use that as a segue into the next year. It was 2016, right? Nominations of 2016 were Doom, Overwatch, Inside, Titanfall 2, and Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. My missed out option for 2016 was in fact Stardew Valley.
Was it as big in 2016 as it is today?
I don't think so. I think it grew and grew. Yeah. I think it grew and grew. But as a look back, so 2016, I think you already have the answers to what won KP. Craig, what do you think one of those was?
I'll assume it's Uncharted 4, just based on it's Naughty Dog, right? And they'll tell a very good a video game movie of a story.
You will be unpleasantly surprised it was Overwatch that won it in 2016.
Wow, yeah, that is very surprising.
Yeah, and one of the ones that I know Overwatch had a really strong following for a fan base, but again, and I love Marvel Rivals, but to me a hero shooter couldn't or shouldn't be the Game of the Year. I think it follows a very basic formula.
I totally agree. I don't like, they're great fun, amazing games to play, but like they just don't give enough in terms of like a story for me to be Game of the Year. Like they might have had a good impact, but like with these type of games, like you're kind of reliant on the people you're playing with, like randoms online, to make the game good as well, as opposed to genuine gameplay of it. Like the gameplay is obviously good, but there's no
relying on stuff that developers didn't do.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
but if the game is good enough, like, because it is generally speaking, though, Call of Duties and the Battlefields, they don't usually win Game of the Year. You know, so people tend not to like. Those games are great and have great onlines, and sometimes they have great multiplayers or single players, but they rarely do win these kind of Game of the Year awards and stuff like that. So if Overwatch was good enough, I'm kind of like, well, fair play to it. It must have been a good bit better than all those other ones.
Uncharted
or
4
it
was
could be
banging though.
Yeah,
I was really surprised. Like I played that game up until I played it recently as well, and it holds up no problem. Graphically, it holds up as well.
It's a great narrative in terms of because it completes the arc, right, for Nathan Drake and co. So it was. When I was going through the list, I was like, Overwatch, are you now listen, I love the idea that any kind or any type of game could win Game of the Year at any given year. But I'm looking at that list and I'm kind of like, Doom I didn't care for. It was funny, myself, Chris and Luke were going to try and play through all the Doom games, and I remember I did I played like Doom 64, Doom 1 and 2, like the early ones. I found them a good bit of fun. But when I got to the 3D ones, Doom and Doom Eternal, and I was like, this was very little for me in terms of like this modern 3D setting. So I'm surprised that's there. Inside was an indie game, I think. Was this?
I need to bring up an indie game, yeah.
I'm just going to bring up a little thing because if it's the one I'm thinking of, Inside.
But I generally do prefer when games like Uncharted 4 are rewarded Game of the Year because they're such a complete package. You know, like every part of it is great. Like there's no like bad parts. There's no like 3 hours of shit content. It's always just so well structured. That's why like even for me, like The Last of Us was my Game of the Year over GTA 5. I think GTA 5 is one of the greatest accomplishments in video games ever. But for me, just because The Last of Us was such a complete total 20-hour package, I would give it the Game of the Year, even though I do think GTA 5 is just a bigger, better experience overall. Like, but I like to reward that polish, you know. Yeah, and I'd agree. So yeah, surprising. So do you think, looking back on this now, you know, whatever, 8 years ago or 8 years later, do you think we'd probably shift our opinion on who wins in that category? See, I don't play Overwatch, but there are people who play. Like some of our friends, Andy and Kev, do they still play it to this day? Oh, you're thinking of they were playing. Maybe they played Overwatch. They're on Overwatch 2 now, probably. But Overwatch 2 was a big flop. But they were playing. Oh my god, why can't I think of that? It was a 3-team hero shooter. Apex. No? Apex Legends. Oh, Apex. Yeah, I had completely thought that Overwatch was Apex. But I mean, that's what's interesting about them. That's why I find it interesting that a hero shooter could have won, because there's loads of comparisons of Marvel rivals with Overwatch now, and even then when Apex was the big thing, there was comparisons of that with Overwatch, and I look at it, I'm like, it's the same game, just different skins almost, is kind of how how I see them. And again, like I've enjoyed Marvel rivals, but I'm not the type of person who gets really a good kick out of that level of competitive gaming, because I think when you get into it and you get to the certain tiers and it's really intense and it's every decision counts, maybe there's a different level of enjoyment. But me at an entry level getting into Overwatch, I was like, this is an okay game. Same with Marvel Rivals, really enjoyable, but would I rather play that or Marvel Midnight Suns? I'd be like, I'll choose that. It's great to hop on with my mates for a couple of sessions. This is grand, but I'm like, there's not a whole lot I'm getting back from this game over time. So Titanfall 2 is one that's there that I was a big fan of. And I think Apex Legends is based in the world of Titanfall, if I'm thinking of the same game. They're all based in the same world. But Titanfall 2 was a great game, great multiplayer. I think if I was going back to this, I'd struggle between Titanfall 2 and Uncharted: The Thief's End was my two choices. I wouldn't go near Overwatch, but I'm, delighted. Different kind of game. It was clearly a worse off year than the previous year, though. Like, none of them could win against any of the previous candidates. Yeah, I feel. And it's funny, when you go through this, we do get kind of... there's definitely like good years and bad years associated with it. I was thinking that as well when I was scrolling through. There's 1 or 2 years that are a dud, and then there's other years where like any one of the 5, like it's insane. But looking back on 2016, because I said that's the year Stardew Valley came out. If I'm looking back on it now from today and I look at all those games and I include Stardew Valley in the nominations instead of, let's say, I'd probably take out Doom from that list and put Stardew Valley in that place. I'd probably give Stardew Valley the Game of the Year because of the fact that it's built by one person. In terms of the initial idea, I know he's got a team helping him put it on different platforms and coding the DLCs and everything like that. But as you said, Craig, as well, it's that thing whereby the amount of play you get out of it, like the amount of time you can spend playing Stardew Valley, because and it keeps giving. Like the Harvest Moon games are not indie games; they are AAA Nintendo games, and Stardew Valley has more content than any Harvest Moon game. And I'm like. And it's an indie game by one person. Yeah. So like that just proves that every Harvest Moon game was shit by comparison like that. And I love the Harvest Moon games, but in terms of effort, they're rubbish. But they haven't made the improvements over the previous games. They've just been like, oh, we'll give you this kind of cartoony art style this time, as opposed to like they're not adding new things. They're not trying to make the game better. Whereas Stardew came along and took all of those things that all the Harvest Moon games and incorporated the best things about it. So, like in a Smash Brothers, they've actually taken what was there and paved the road to new success, as opposed to just copy and paste what you've done, you know, which is what the Harvest Moon games have been notorious for. Because I look at every Harvest Moon game because of Stardew and now say they are bad games. Yeah. You know, especially because there's more than one person, you know, so they've no excuse.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's interesting in terms of the things with Stardew that stick with me. Like we were at that quiz and there was a round that was soundtracks. And there was one that came on. I can't remember what the actual answer was, but I immediately thought of Stardew Valley. And while I was thinking that, I was like, Jesus Christ, like, how impressive is it that one guy who not only like coded a game, designed a game, and then wrote the music for a game, but I'm sitting here at a quiz thing where they're putting up soundtracks for like big games, small games, whatever, but these kind of, you know, apart from that Dolphin one that was at the end of the soundtrack thing, but most of them were like kind of well known, and I was sitting there being like, wow, I'm actually sitting there thinking that could be a fucking Stardew Valley game soundtrack, because it's so good, like it's so well thought out. So yeah, I think go back to 2016, I'd throw Stardew Valley in as my game of the year.
For me,
you know,
as well, yeah. And I think if you would review those games in 2024, I think the general audience would probably agree. Like, you know, I think Stardew is just so much bigger now than any of those games. Yeah.
And Uncharted 4, as great as it is, it was kind of like we're on 4, and graphically it still holds up and it's still a great story. But I think the jump from 3 to 4 wasn't huge. It was kind of the same thing, but let's get like, you know, like I love how in every Uncharted game it was like, hey, a train's falling off a cliff or I'm falling out of a plane. It was like got bigger and bigger.
Very cinematic. Yeah. You're pressing L and then or, and that's it. Like.
And you're climbing your way back up into it.
Whereas by the time we get to Uncharted 4, I was like, unless something's gonna happen in space, they can't like big up what they've already done. So
they only added like one mechanic as well, if memory serves, because I played all of the Uncharted games.
You did the Nathan Drake collection type thing? Yeah,
I did that. And like they only added one kind of new movement technique, which is like they throw like a grapple hook basically. And I was like, you've had, I don't know, however many years it was spread over, let's say like 10 years, and you've added basically one thing. Hook. Like that was it. Yeah.
It's kind of like that with now I would never compare this to the likes of Harvest Moon, but it's kind of a thing whereby you've got a good recipe. We ain't going to change it, but the taste of people is around you is kind of changing. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of getting a bit lazy. You might need to throw in a bit more seasoning in there to make it a bit more enjoyable for the fans. So yeah, I mean, Stardew Valley, that's an easy one for me. Moving on to 2017.
Oh, 2017. Okay, don't even say a word. I don't know what the nominations are, but the answer is Persona 5. Okay.
I really was keen to hear how you got. I was super keen to hear what would happen.
Excellent answer. So 2017, the nominations were The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, and Super Mario Odyssey.
What a fucking year.
Right.
Holy shit. All 5 of them could win Game of the Year against the previous years.
Oh yeah, big time. Shit. Yeah, and it's such and this is kind of like a common theme. I don't think Horizon Forbidden West got into the categories. I'm just having a little look down the list here.
But what a 5 games you mentioned.
I know, right?
And I know the Game of the Year was, and it's crazy to think that. So Super Mario Odyssey just didn't win Game of the Year because Nintendo competed with themselves.
Big year. And I like how we've come a long way from 2014, where there was just no mention of Nintendo whatsoever. But Horizon Zero Dawn, I just want to talk about that one first, because in 2017 it was up against Persona 5, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. And I was like, shit, you know, any other, because I thought it was a fucking unbelievable game.
It's great.
Now, don't get me wrong, I still think the likes of Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild are better, but only because they're fucking amazing games. Yeah. I felt so sorry for Horizon that year because I played that and I enjoyed the hell out of it, platinumed it, and then when it came to the thing, I looked at that. I remember watching the Game Awards that year, looking at the thing, being like, doesn't stand a fucking chance, like, you know. And then it happens to it later on when it comes out to Forbidden West. It's just in an absolute, like, Forbidden West is an excellent game, and you probably still agree, Craig. It's the best looking game on the PlayStation 5
to this day.
To this day, up against absolute titans that year as well. So Horizon just never had the look. And
wait, was the 5th one you said though? PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, people would look back on that now and go, like, not a chance.
I think
but at the time, it done something revolutionary.
Yes.
It's just they took their foot off the pedal immediately. They cashed in and went, all right, let's probably buy a few mansions and live up life and fucking smoke a load of drugs and do cocaine or whatever. But they sat on their ass after fucking making that game. And then they got usurped, rightly so, by, who was it?
Warzone, Fortnite.
Warzone and Fortnite. And they rightly took over because these guys could have made billions if they kept going, but they didn't, you know? Yeah. So I think people will look back now and go, you were pioneers, but that's all you were.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that one for sure, because I think the fact that we got the Battle Royale, it was essentially the original Battle Royale in gaming, you know, in the modern day gaming. And I couldn't play it even like then, and I couldn't play it now in terms of like it was very much a PC game.
Yeah.
Looked a little bit clanky to me, but in fairness, like revolutionary. Like that idea that you go into a map with like 63 other people and just try and survive was like, this is fucking cool. Like
it got me to. It was the first game I ever watched people play, just because I was so fascinated by the idea. It's like the Battle Royale movie, but like it's a video game. You know?
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that. And then I discovered Stone Mountain, and I was like, oh crap, this guy's brilliant.
Stone Mountain was great. Yeah, for Call of Duty. I remember him. I watched a lot of him actually.
But he started with the Battleground stuff, and he was doing games where he pretended that he was an actual drill sergeant and would come in to random people in Europe and be like, all right guys, ready up, we're going in, and he wouldn't break character for a second. So I was like, this is comedy gold.
The videos were
because he's
hilarious.
also amazing at the game. Like, you know?
But PlayerUnknown's Battleground was huge for content creators. Like loads of people jumped on that. Like, you know, what's his name, Doc, I mean he's been absolutely cancelled now, but what was his name? The doctor.
Oh, is that the guy with the mustache?
Yeah.
He wears the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah,
He's done and dusted.
He's gone, he's absolutely gone, But it's a huge game for lots of those guys, and it absolutely blasted them into fame. So you're right, Craig. Pioneering game, but looking back on it now, it's like this.
From a 2024 perspective, I think you would toss that one out. You know?
So Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild won, but Persona 5, Craig, that's a tough shout. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. And
there's still, you could go on Reddit and like the pages will just keep going and going of stuff that people are still discovering.
Yeah.
You know, years later, like, you know, like it was just a creative masterpiece and a great step up for Zelda. But the dungeons weren't great, you know. The story, like all Zeldas, isn't great.
Okay.
But the story in Persona, man, that's good.
Have you ever played Persona, Kippy?
No, I haven't. I'm starting to feel like I should though. The way Craig's going on.
Persona 5 is just, it's just the perfect game.
I see it pop up sometimes. I'm scrolling through like what game am I going to play next, and it's there, and I'm like, I'll definitely get into this someday.
It's just so stylish.
Yeah.
Like there's 4 tracks in that game that if were released as singles would be chart #1 hits. Like, you know? It's just people don't know about them, but all 4 are worthy of a #1 on UK Top of the Pops or whatever it was, MTV, like, you know, like all 4 are just absolute gems. And the other sounds, like even if you go through a loading screen, it'll play some brilliant music that'll just make you want to stay on the loading screen because you're just watching these amazing looking silhouettes walk past the window with rain dropping down to this glorious soundtrack.
It was described as acid jazz was what
the whole game is acid jazz.
The whole game is acid jazz. Phenomenal. Again, I feel like it's a bit of a horizon. What a year for Persona 5 to come out, because all of the things up against that year are crazy. The one I put as a missed out for that year was Cuphead, and I probably would have put it in there looking back now for PUBG. Like I would have taken out PUBG and put maybe Cuphead in there and given it a shot. But I still, even that year, think that like Breath of the Wild, and I think Breath of the Wild had a bit of an Elden Ring thing about it. People were waiting for the next Zelda game for so long that there was so much hype surrounding it. I think Zelda Breath of the Wild is a great game, but I think there was a lot in terms of kind of the psyche of the industry at the time that was like, well, it's the next gen Zelda game. And you got that a bit with Elden Ring, a little bit. The people were like, we've waited for this for 10 years, so it has to be amazing. And I looked at it being like, maybe it is amazing, but I'm looking at it being like, this does nothing for me. Okay. I wouldn't say the same about Breath of the Wild. I was looking at it being like, that does lots for me.
It was similar to the Battleground, so it did pioneer a new way of playing a game where you could do anything in any order you liked. And you know, like that just by itself in a Zelda game was so huge because it completely broke the system of needing an item to get to somewhere. Like that for 20 years was all Zelda was. You just like, you have a bow now, you can shoot this to get to that area. Whereas in this game, they just gave you everything immediately. So it's turning the whole system on its head. So that caused uproar. And looking back on that 7 years ago, we go, oh, yeah, that wasn't that big move. But at the time, it blew everyone's minds. It's just like shaking the basket really loud, you know. And it holds up. It's still a great game, you know. But we haven't even mentioned Odyssey, you know. What a terrific game that was.
Part,
I was going to say, KP, on that list, is there anything that would have tickled your fancy that you would have said probably deserves it more? Or
I don't think you could say deserves it more, but and I know you've touched on it a lot, but like Horizon Zero Dawn's an absolute banger.
So such a great game.
I think it's a cracking franchise. I can't really see how it would have beaten a Zelda game for the reason you said. I think everyone just wanted a Zelda game maybe to come out. And
people had waited a long time, you know. And it's, I think for new IPs, like I'm delighted that it made the nomination because I think for new IPs, it's kind of difficult sometimes to break that barrier. I mean, like look what they're dealing with. They're a new Zelda game, a new Persona game, and a new Mario game. Do you know what I mean? That people are always like, oh, let's go. So I'm delighted that new IP could have made the bracket and broke new ground. But yeah, Forbidden West, when we get onto it probably in our next episode.
The Forbidden West was a massive leap. You know? And especially because the side content in Horizon, the original, is bad. Like, you know, it's just not good. And with so much, you know, climbing on top of like a monster to scan the area, there was a bit of Assassin's Creed fatigue when this game already came out. Like, you know, so. By copying those elements, it didn't do itself any favors.
That's one thing about those games that just does kind of get me after a while. You are just spending a huge amount of time exploring dead, empty land, maybe looking at the odd robotic monster. And what are those guys? Well, they drive me mad. It's one thing about that the Horizon series that I like them, but this is really annoying. Those, like, I don't know, like the guys with one eye, the metallic.
The Watchers.
The Watchers. They piss me off.
Really?
Beyond
they're the weakest enemy in the game.
I know they're the weakest enemy in the game. There's so fucking many of them. Sometimes I just want to hide out in some shrubbery and like 10 of these fuckers come in. And all I'm doing is like, I'm just scavenging for berries or like, I just need to get a bit of health. And next time I'm getting chased and I'm just like, just let me get from A to B here. There's funny, so many of them.
I can appreciate that, but I do like that became the kind of the mascot for Horizon, because when we played like Monster Hunter, there was in Monster Hunter World, there was a Horizon event, and you could dress up your little cat friend in the Watcher gear. And I remember playing that with Eddie, and I was like, he looks fucking amazing. But yes, it was an annoying like character to have in the game. Yeah. And you're right. I think Forbidden West improved on it greatly, but Horizon suffered from what a lot of games did, especially Hogwarts Legacy, where you've got this big open world, but nothing's happening yet, you know?
It's just big for the sake of being big. Like.
Absolutely. So before we move on, I'm going to do the little self-plug promotion bit, guys. So bear with me while we get through this. So I just wanted to let our listeners know about our Patreon. If you haven't heard already, for the cost of a coffee a month, you can gain access to all of our post shows, including extra gaming news, the Gift of Gaming Battle Royale, where we pit video game characters against one another in the ultimate showdown, and early access to any of our Gift of Gaming Games Club episodes, where we review our times with new and old games. If you hop on now, there is over 80 episodes to listen to, so it's an absolute bargain. Your support helps us grow the podcast so we can try to bring you bigger and better content. Why not take a look or tell your mates? And if you want to get in touch, our hopes here at the Gift of Gaming podcast are to create a community of like-minded gamers to discuss all things video games. Although we are terrible on the social media front, 2025 is the year of change. No matter what Chris says, I will do it. And we hope to expand out and update you all on all the classic social media platforms. In the meantime, why not send us your thoughts on episodes as they come out, or tell us what we got wrong as we're getting it wrong. We love reading emails and are available at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you all. Keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Gentlemen, on to 2018. Our last.
Just before you do that, I thought you had that automated. Like, do you not have
no, I haven't.
Thing that
I
you
haven't.
Just record once and then just paste over and over again.
I do.
Because that took ages. So
no,
like,
I know.
You nailed it the first time. I'll give you that. But like, that was a lot of work. Like.
It was a lot of work. I do need to pre-record and put it in, but I need to do that once I have the social media done, because I'd hate to have this old one saying we're getting the social media ready when I already have things.
But come on,
like,
you're not actually going to do that, so you may as well just be lazy and just not do the social media.
Just record it once
for
and
the
put it out
sake
there.
of just having the.
You're
plugin.
right. I need to cut more corners. You're right. I do. We're on to our last year, guys, for this episode, 2018. Can anybody off the top of their head? Do you already know the answer, KP?
I know, but I knew anyway because it came up before the quiz. I was researching stuff.
That's true.
I thought that might come up.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I remember it being a far worse year than 2017. Though.
You would.
I think this is the Resident Evil 5 year.
No. So you're thinking of Resident Evil 5 year happens.
This is 2019.
Or Resident Evil
kind
Village.
of a
Village
weird
2021.
One.
That's
sorry.
That's the.
For me, that's the shit year.
Yeah, that's the all games got delayed because of COVID year. And when we get to that in the next episode, you'll see. But KP. Winner.
God of War.
Now, this is a
There's a problem in the list, though. Who should have won? And I think you'll agree with me.
Yeah. Well, this is a tough one. 2018 is a good one
give
for
me
us
the list
all.
first. I'm getting
so
excited.
We got nominations: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste,
not a chance,
Monster Hunter World, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, Red Dead 2 is in there?
Yeah.
Wow, and that did not win.
Yeah.
And I love God of War, but Red Dead Redemption to me...
Red Dead 2 is a revolutionary experience.
To me, still one of the greatest... Like, if I had to make my greatest games of all time list again, Red Dead Redemption 2 is always going to be in that list. It's always going to be in that.
Well, Red Dead 2 is for the first 60% of the game an amazing game. And then the last 40% is just pure shit.
I know. I wouldn't say it's just sad.
It's not only sad, but it's so repetitive, and it's like every mission is the exact same.
So I'll give you that. In terms of game mechanic wise, it's a point and shoot. That's kind of all there is.
Like you are a god who can kill 1 million people, no problem.
Yeah.
And like they are not like you don't even need to ever duck for cover. You can just slow time, kill 100 people, and then just slow time again, and then just quickly take an elixir, and you get like 10 of them.
Yeah.
So you could slow time forever and
Craig,
massacre millions, like no problem whatsoever. So like I wish it was a bit more like Metal Gear, and if a bullet hits you, you had to like go to your camp and like extract it and like heal yourself up with some fucking. It's just more realistic and gritty, where like a single one-on-one battle was a big deal because there's absolutely no fear whatsoever in the game in the latter portions. But despite that, everyone's dying, and I'm like, man, I wish this story was tailored to just them following me around, because I could massacre a country by myself, like and that takes me out of it in a big way.
I'd never used the what is it called when you slow the time?
Deadeye.
I never used that in the game. And it adds a bit to it. It makes it a bit more
challenging.
challenging.
You can. There's two things you can do. You can not use Deadeye, and you can turn off the auto aim. So like sometimes when you hop out
I
for
have the
cover,
auto aim off, but because like it sucks when you go into a house and your character just there's a bottle glowing and your character just won't pick it up, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And it's because you already have full of that inventory. So in order to pick up new things, I had to use what I already have, because it would really bother me. I would think the game is broken if there's like a bottle that like is clearly flashing and my character won't pick it up. That drives me nuts.
It is so funny, the little thing, because I'm looking at, like, I'm thinking Red Dead Redemption 2 and I'm thinking best open world map ever in existence.
By a mile.
But if you try to pick shit up, it sucks. You go into a house and you try to loot, you'll be there for 20 minutes.
I loved going, because it was this thing where you go in, you go into any house, like let's say one of those houses that you can kick down the door and kill a couple of guys from an opposing gang, and all the dead bodies, you're like, and it's even the animation of Arthur is great, because he's like, opening drawers, I'll take this tuna, I'll take this,
you gotta be careful, because square is open drawer, but square is also pick up body, whereas triangle is loot body, but square is pick up stuff in a house. So if you kill a couple of people in a house and you're walking around trying to hold square to open drawers, you'll just start picking people up left, right, and center. I
can't believe that Red Dead Redemption 2 will probably, up there with The Last of Us, if not like one of the better narratives
and
ever.
I agree, like it's one of the greatest.
But I can't believe that was.
But there's so much bullshit in it.
That's so funny. I never even picked up on that as a problem in the game.
I played it recently.
I probably experienced it, but I just like it. Just
but the game is so good, because there's those moments, and don't get me wrong, God of War. The rebooting God of War was a great idea, and it's a great game, and Ragnarok is a class as a two for the games. They're great. I'm so disappointed that year it wasn't Red Dead Redemption 2, because I think what they managed to achieve from an open world perspective hasn't been achieved since, and was completely revolutionary at the time. The fact that I go on, like you're talking about Breath of the Wild, and the Reddit still has this, that, and the other. There's still people I see online or YouTube videos being like, did you go to this part of the map at this time of the day to see like the ghost train, the UFO, the guy who's pretending to be the devil in the cave, all of these things that like, and the campsite. Hats off to the developers, the voice actors, everybody who made that game, who put so much effort into all of these things that happen in the campsite that you under no obligation to experience. It's just that whether or not you want to stay there and actually have the conversation with people, or sit there and listen to Uncle playing the banjo, whatever it might be. All of that is just a by the way, and it's so
organic.
Good.
It's just so real. It's so raw. It's just next level AI. And it's not even AI. They actually wrote all that shit.
So I knew that we'd get a bit of conversation about Red Dead Redemption 2. So the post show for today, guys, is Rate My Cast. I've chosen actors for a Red Dead Redemption 2 movie, and I want to get your choices on it. And like I said, if you like the sound of that, guys, check out our Patreon. But going back to this. This is a tough one as well, quick, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great game. So is God of War. Monster Hunter World is on that list. Some of the most fun I've ever had playing a video game was in that game. In terms of the modern day playing.
Like I definitely had played way more Monster Hunter than Red Dead 2. And had way more fun with Monster Hunter than Red Dead 2. But I would probably give it to Red Dead 2. Even though I honestly thought the ladder, like by the time you get to Saint Denis, I'm sick of that game. I'm done. and I couldn't even get past that area on my second playthrough. I hunted all the legendary animals, had a great time at the camp, and it was brilliant. But everything else is balls to me, and I don't care.
I never picked up on it.
It's such a hot take, man, because I love that game start to finish.
I think the only part of the game that I found dull was when he ends up in Guam, and that's not even that long an experience. Or like the shipwreck.
It's silly.
That whole part
it's a bit dull, but after like it's part of it, I suppose. But I love it. There's no part of the game I dislike.
It's just you running like Vanderlek is like, oh, don't worry, Arthur. Like I know what I'm doing this time, and then you're just killing 1,000 people, and most of them are innocent. You know,
I mean, when you break it down, Craig, yes, but it's not told like that. For
the most part, it is like he gets so many chances, Vanderlyn. Like it's just insane how many times he fucks up. Over and over and over again. I'm like, Jesus Christ, lads, you got to get the fuck out of here.
But the crew is so good, man. The whole gang you have, which they're all excellent characters. Hosea, Bill Williamson, and I like seeing like experience, because I love the first Red Dead.
Charles is my favorite. I fucking love Charles.
It's so good, like and there's like the team that stick with Arthur as opposed to the team that stick with Dutch as time goes on. Like, you have your own little crew.
It's so organic.
Do you know what always annoyed me about being in the camp, though, is that I was a real contributor to the camp. I would, they had like the bookkeeping, and you'd see money going
Infuriated
in.
me, man.
It drove me insane, because I'd be throwing in hundreds of dollars, and you'd see one other name like 10 cent.
Someone put in a great picture. I only saw, and this is what I mean about it still, like people are still playing the game and enjoying it. It was on Reddit, and someone was like, I need to put this on, mildly infuriating, because it had like Arthur, like $50, $100 gold bar, this upgraded this campsite, blah blah blah, and then it went down to fucking like Leopold Strauss a $2 watch or something like that. That's all he contributed, and like
but
that's
at
how
least
it goes.
The gang know like that you were the main contributor, like, and like none of the other gang members have their own bunker or tent or whatever, but you have this like nice little space set up just for you. Like you were considered the big fish in the camp, and like it's great because sometimes you'll just go on like a 3-day hunt. Like I go on a hunting trip and don't come back for like a week. Like, I just go off and hunt these fucking legendary boar or whatever. And then I'll come back and Miss Dawson is like, Arthur, we're running completely low on supplies. Nobody's doing anything. Any chance you could help us out? And I'm like, at least she acknowledges that I am the breadwinner of this family. So at least there's that.
Looking back on it now, do you think it's still God of War? I mean, I personally would, even then and now, would have changed it to Red Dead Redemption 2 on that list.
Yeah, I'd easily change it, but like
God of War is
still an absolute banger. It's an amazing game, and there's others in there as well. Like I know you're not a fan, but the Spider-Man game is good. Like it really is good. I don't think it was ever going to win on that list, but
from an indie perspective, Celeste was a game that Lauren played a good bit of, and I played through a little bit. Like a great puzzle game, lots of character, like really enjoyable. Great to see it in there, but like I'm delighted it got as far as a nomination and not necessarily a win, because up against those games,
2D platform, there's hundreds of them.
But that's what's impressive about this one, in that there's hundreds of them, but it's really stood out. It really stood out. That's it. I mean, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Assassin's Creed in the last, I played Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3, and it hasn't done anything for me since Black Flag, really, I don't think.
Valhalla was a good one, though.
The Viking
I went
one.
From Black Flag to Valhalla because of the Vikings. And I was just like, no, this is a good game, good story.
I liked it for a while, but with those games, the only thing that starts to annoy me about them is that the backstory of the Animus and all that completely irrelevant. Just make a timepiece game, just set it.
Yeah, the Animus always ruins.
Just get rid of it. Do Ghost of Tsushima style. You don't need to have these flashback moments or flash forward moments. Just leave it as it's set in the time of Vikings.
He's right, it doesn't work.
And I only heard that recently when people were I think it was on the Kind of Funny Games guys I listened to a lot, that I think they were talking about Assassin's Creed as a whole, and people were being like, you either need to make the whole flash forward to the present time really important and mean something, or just take it out, because in the last couple of games it's meant jack shit, and it's kind of as you said, just takes you out of what's the actual fun part of the game. I think God of War was a really good winner. I loved it. Red Dead Redemption 2 though, always going to be up there.
God of War, though, from start to finish, is very, very good the whole way through.
Enjoyable.
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10 game.
No, I never completed it. I'd still probably give it to God of War as well, just because of how shit I found the end of Red Dead 2.
And God of War it's one of those games that I found when I was playing it, and it's kind of like that, I guess. I kind of think of what else. Oh, Space Marines, I would have felt like the same thing. When I was like whooping the shit out of some big monsters, it really felt like I was whooping the shit out. Like whatever way that game plays is a real satisfying kind of loop in the fights, and it never gets, as you said, Red Dead got stale. Of course it did. God of War never got stale. Like, and then there was all the end game really tough fights that you could do with the Valkyries and things like that were just like loads of extra stuff in it. But yeah, so that's it, guys. We've done the first 5 years. We won't do another 5 years because the episode's already long enough. But yeah, we'll tune in next time where we'll do the next 5 years, bringing us right up to 2024 and see what we thought of the Game Awards to date. If you want to stick around, listeners, check out our Patreon. We're going to do the guys are going to rate my cast, who I've chosen as actors to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 movie. Craig, thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course.
KP, thank you so much for hopping on.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.